Welcome to the walkthrough.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of the walkthrough here on the South Harmon Fantasy Football Network. I am your host, the authentic one, Mr. Matty Kiwoom, and of course, I am joined by none other than the host of America's Game podcast, South Harmon's own Mr. Eric Vanek. Eric, week 10, how's it going?
Yeah, going good. Yeah, just excited for the week, but yeah, not as good as you are, man. How's that new car that you got buying Bitcoin with Bitcoin?
You know, it's just sometimes you dabble in things. You know, I have my day job, and then, you know, of course I do this here, the fantasy football content. But, you know, sometimes I just want to be a crypto bro and just, you know, become a social media brand and take over. Or you just get hacked by someone with a VPN that says they were from Illinois, but I know they were not from Illinois. And now you're just in an uphill battle trying to get your Twitter back. So, Eric, other than that, how are you doing?
I'm good, buddy. Just excited for the week here. Ton of injuries again last week. That was just disappointing, but hopefully get it right this week.
I don't have the time to do this. I don't know if you've come across an article, a tweet, something, because, again, I'm not on Twitter right now. Do we have, like, evidence-based, like some statistics that say that this season has been plagued with more injuries, bigger quality injuries, you know, injuries to bigger players? Like, is there anything quantifiable? Because it feels like there's been the most injuries this year, you know, based on, you know, out of any year I've played fantasy. It feels as if injuries just are consistent, nonstop, and horrifying. But is it just a feeling, or is this? Do you know if there's any quantifiable data out there that proves how plagued this season has been for injuries?
Not really that I've seen, but honestly, this happens every single year. I bitch about this every single year, so I know it's like
portfolio
it's real.
drafter.
It happens. Yeah, it happens every year. So yeah, I'm not like, yeah, it just happens every year, man. Unfortunately.
The injuries keep piling up, but we keep, you know, trudging on. We keep trying to win these fantasy weeks. We're here now. Week 10, I like to call it the biggest win of the year. It's the most important matchup. This is kind of the last straw to see if you're a contender or going to be in the rebuild. If you're going to go all in for your redraft championship this week, it always has so much ramification. So, as always, here on the walkthrough, we're going to go through every single matchup on the Week 10 slate. Make sure you are, you know, subscribe to the South Harmon Fantasy Football channel. Make sure you like this video. Of course, leave a comment. Who are some of your favorite sleeper big plays in Week 10? So, Eric, without further ado, let's get into the first game. We're going back to the early game. Okay. Fall back. The times have changed again, and now this is our first game on the slate that we have to get up 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We got a game. Where is it? Berlin. Interesting. A little German game. Wow. A little schnitzel.
Yeah.
A matchup between the 3-5 Atlanta Falcons against the 7-2 Indianapolis Colts, plus 6.5 for the Falcons, over under 48.5, plus 245 for the Falcons, minus 305 for the Colts. Sauce Gardner is going to play, so let's talk about the offensive side of the things for the Falcons going against Sauce Gardner now in this defense. Michael Penix, he's kind of been a letdown this year. So are we going to go? Are we going to try to play him abroad? And what does it say for his weapons? You know, Drake London looked fantastic in Week 9 against Patriots.
Yeah, you got to see it live. So,
yeah.
I don't think I can trust Penix. He's like probably like a back end quarterback too for me. But I got to play Bijan. I got to play Drake London and Pitts. You know, with all these tight end injuries and buys and stuff, like, you got to probably play Pitts. He's had 2 or 3 weeks in a row of pretty solid production. So I'm going to stick with Kyle Pitts this week too.
Listen, fantasy analyst to listener, let me say this. Kyle Pitts, tight end 10 for me this week. I like Kyle Pitts. Super fan, you know, football fan in me has to say something. Fuck Kyle Pitts. Last week I'm at the Patriots game, and of course you have to lay a sick parlay. I take the Patriots money line. I take Stephon Diggs touchdown. I take Terrell Jennings touchdown. And what do I need to cash on my parlay? 5 more catches from Kyle Pitts. We were at halftime grabbing beers, celebrating my parlay about the hit because he was at 4 at half, goes receptionless in the second half. Kills my parlay. I don't cash out because I wanted to let it ride. Ruins the end of the game because I'm not just rooting as a Pats fan. I am now rooting for one man to get one effing catch. So fuck Kyle Pitts. But in fantasy this week, great matchup against the Colts. Number 4 most advantageous matchup. So I got him as a top 10 play. If you got him, you're gonna play him. And I agree with everything else on the Falcons side of things. Indianapolis is becoming one of the clearest offensive pictures we have in fantasy. It's pretty much start the guys you know, right? I mean, is anything looking any different to you in Week 10?
No, I mean, I think Alec Pierce is like a must play every week for me. Like, he's been phenomenal. So I think I'm definitely going to play him. Josh Downs is kind of like week to week. I mean, he's been okay the last couple weeks, so I guess you could probably throw him in as like wide receiver 3 flex play with the amount of guys we have on bye and the injuries and stuff. But yeah, I mean, you're playing Taylor, you're playing Pittman, you're playing Warren, and you're probably playing the other two and Daniel Jones.
You bring up Alec Pierce. Let's play a little name game with Mr. Alec Pierce. Alec Pierce or Trey Tucker, Thursday Night Football for our live listeners.
Ooh, I'm going to go with Alec Pierce. That guy's been killing it.
Alec Pierce or Christian Watson?
Alec Pierce.
Alec Pierce or early season darling Quentin Johnston?
That one's a good one. I think I'm going to go with Quentin Johnston on that one.
I do have Quentin Johnston a couple spots higher than Pierce because of the matchup.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh has been so easy for opposing wide receivers, whereas Atlanta's been kind of difficult. Even though the over/under, the implied total for the Colts, I'm playing Pierce in a lot of leagues here, so got him as a top 35 play. Should be a good one in Germany. Now I don't know what this game's gonna look like. It's a couple of teams that have become a little bit of a snooze fest for us in fantasy, but let's see what happens in Week 10. A battle of NFC South foes. The 1-8 New Orleans Saints head to Carolina to take on the 5-4 Panthers. Panthers minus 5.5. Over under 39.5. Sub 40. Yuck. Plus 200 for the Saints. Minus 245 for the Panthers. So let's start with the visiting Saints. Spencer Rattler now, we know what it looks like without him. We've had now Tyler Shuck for a game and a half. Game and a quarter, whatever it ended up being, but we've seen now Tyler Shuck a full game at least. What do we think it's going to look like for this Saints offense going forward? But here's exactly where I want to start, at the running back position, because Alvin Kamara has been dreadful. Absolutely a sieve for your fantasy lineups. Are we going to play him this week? And what are our expectations? And I know this is a redraft show, but give me a quick synopsis on your thoughts on Kamara for Dynasty gamers, because I think there's a lot of managers out there right now with Kamara, and they don't want to sell for a third. But what is the market going to look like from here rest of season, and should they sell now? Because he looks dusted.
Man, it's so hard to tell. Like, is it the offense? Is it him? Like, I'm not watching Saints fucking games on Sunday, so I can't really tell personally. And you don't see him on Red Zone that often either, so you can't really see him. I'm not gonna sell for a third, but if I can get a third and another running back, can I get a third or 2/3, something like that? I'd be okay selling him. I mean, he's a 30-year-old running back. He says he doesn't want to be traded, and he's pretty much been a staple in that offense for how many ever years now, and they're going to, respect his wishes that he doesn't want to be traded. So I get that. That's fine. But, he's going to be stuck in this offense. Yeah, sure, he's going to play, but how many points is he going to give you? So
it's been dreadful.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I think on it. I'm like, for playing him this week, it's a good matchup against the Panthers. Like, James Cook just ran through them a couple weeks ago. Josh Jacobs was all right last week. So if you got to play him, he's probably a flex play for me at best still. And then, Tyler Shuck. I mean, it is what it is. Like, is he any better than Rattler? Probably not. He's probably like a little worse.
Yeah, they're on the trajectory for a number 1 overall pick at quarterback.
Right.
I mean, that's what they're on.
Yeah, so I like Olave for sure. He should he should get the DK Metcalf treatment that DK should be getting all year, the 10-plus targets a game. Like, that should be a lock now for Olave with no Shaheed anymore. I think Juwan Johnson takes a little step up here, and then it sounds like Cooks and then Devon Vele is going to be their starting 3 weekly. It sounds like Vele is probably going to be like, not take Rashid Shaheed's role, but take his targets.
Yeah, it feels like Vele, if you have a spot in the back end of your bench, put him on there because he is that ugly name that is going to end up being like one of those guys that we talk about in a few months, being like, what a crazy November run Devon Vele had, huh?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if he's out there, pick him up at the back end of your bench. Yeah, no, exactly. Last year it kind of happened too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the Panthers now. Bryce Young, we're not playing him. He's kind of become an afterthought in fantasy. But Rico Dowdle, on the injury report, seems like he's going to play. Will we get the Kringle McGillicuddy's celebration dance in the end zone again from Rico Dowdle?
We might, yeah. I mean, he's been on fire this year. Like, I think here, how about this? I'm going to give you this stat. Can you I mean, it's already you're going to know it, but he's third in the NFL in rushing yards.
Isn't that unbelievable?
And he started like 4 games.
Right. Well, he had those 2 back-to-back games that was absolute catch-up mode. And the truth
and the
is,
first month
other
of
than
the season, he didn't do shit.
He didn't do anything.
Crazy.
Rico Dowdle is going to be a name that comes up for many years in how we predict certain outcomes because he was left for dead. And, we talked about how little the money mattered. We talked about how much the money did matter for Chuba Hubbard. Nope. Rico Dowdle, the man to stay. I think rest of the season, top 12, top 10. Where do you have him rest of the season?
Probably, top 12, top 10.
And then let's talk about Ted McMillan. He's the only receiver, only pass catcher that we're going to play, even think about playing for the Panthers, right?
Yeah, I think so. I don't mind Bryce Young if you have to play him. Like I've had some guys that were injured and stuff that I had to pick up. Like if you need a Jaden Daniels replacement, and I know like the waiver wire is pretty shitty, I don't mind Bryce Young against the Saints. Like this could be one of his games. Hopefully he can finally get over 200 yards passing in a game. Of how sad that is.
When you say it out loud,
Yeah, it's bad, man. It's really bad.
When you say it out loud. All right, let's talk about the next game here. The 2-7 New York Giants head to Chicago to take on the 5-3 Bears. I need a weather report for Sunday ASAP. But in terms of the game, 4.5 points going the Giants' way, over under 46.5, plus 180 for the Giants, minus 218 for the Bears. Giants, at this point, we're locked into to playing Jackson Dart, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got to play him in a bunch this week. I had him as a Jaden Daniels backup and a bunch of my leagues and a couple other of my leagues too. So, yeah, I gotta play him for sure.
And now, what else, is there anyone else that you're excited about playing in this offense? Wandale's kind of become a staple. Theo Johnson, Tyron Tracy, big dud in his first week back as the starter. How are you going to play? Because on paper, this is a good matchup for the fantasy players for the New York Giants.
Yeah, it's weird between Tracy and Singletary. Like, I didn't see that coming at all. Right. I think it's still going to be Tracy, but we'll see. I mean, I think both are flex plays at best. Wide receiver-wise, I think Slayton and Wandale I like for sure. They did bring in Ray McLeod, and he played like 90% of the snaps his first game in there, so that was pretty crazy. Not going to play him outside of super deep leagues. But, I mean, we just saw the Bengals just rip this fucking defense apart, too. So, playing Wandale and playing, these guys isn't terrible. And Theo Johnson's been pretty solid, too.
Yeah, the offense looked, pretty functional under Jackson Dart. I just made a trade for him, actually, in a South Harmon league, best ball league. I'm rebuilding, so I was able to add him there. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the matchup. I got to ask you, though, the Bears, super frustrating. We've had a slew now, maybe 3 or 4 games in a row projected to be easy matchups for Caleb. He's done it in all of them except last week, going for buku points, scoring a touchdown on the, as a receiver, throwing 3 in the air. It was an unbelievable day for Caleb Williams. This matchup looks super juicy on paper. Can we trust our Chicago Bears in Week 10?
Nope. I'm not trusting them. I mean, it was the Bengals. Like, they just killed them last week. But, I mean, you got to probably play Caleb still coming off of that monster game. I don't know how you would sit him unless you have just a better option.
Let's play a little name game with Caleb.
Sure.
Would you play Caleb Williams or Jared Goff against Washington?
And that's on the road for the Lions. I think I'm going to go with Jared Goff.
Caleb Williams or Matthew Stafford against the Niners?
Yeah, Stafford's been on fire this year. I don't know how I can sit him with Puka and Adams and all those guys, so I'm going to go with Stafford.
Last one here, Caleb Williams or Sam Darnold?
Yeah, another tough matchup. And coming off a killer game, too. Damn. I think I'm going to go Darnold, man. I trust him more than I trust Caleb right now.
So there might just be a lot of good matchups here this week. Caleb or Mariota from the chat?
Yeah, I'm going to go Caleb on that one.
Me too.
Mariota's missing some guys, too, so yeah, I'm going to go Caleb.
DeAndre Swift projects to be back. Kyle Winungai goes back to the running back 2 role. But are we at the point now where we're going to see Ben Johnson with his 2 running backs? Are we going to see his iteration, his Chicago version of Gibbs and Montgomery with Winungai and DeAndre Swift?
I think so, yeah. Swift did practice in full. Like, he had been limited all last couple weeks and missed last week, obviously. He's like, oh, I better get out there and full practice now. So, yeah, I think we're going to probably see more of a split. We were already kind of seeing that even before Swift missed. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing it for sure, and he earned it. So,
And real quick, how do you see that translating to the production for the pass catchers?
I thought Rome Odunze would have a great game. He fucked me so hard last week in a bunch of leagues. Like, how do you score 47 points and you go 0 for 0?
Well, he did, he almost had a touchdown. That was a bad throw by Caleb. He had a deep throw that got called back. Just those 2 plays converting would have put him in double digits.
Yeah, and they didn't. So, and I got a big goose egg in a bunch of my lineups. DJ Moore's been playing pretty good, so he's not
He's been
bad.
playing better than Rome since week 3.
Yeah, I think we saw the Loveland take over finally too. Loveland was fantastic last week. I think he takes over for Komet. Komet sucks. Their offensive line's playing pretty solid. So yeah, I mean, you got to play Rome still. Like, he's not going to go 0 for 0 every week. DJ Moore, I'm playing Colson Loveland, and Zacchaeus has been okay. Like, I don't know if Burden's going to play. I didn't really see his practice report, but Zacchaeus is like a flex start play.
Yeah, we're going to see some good games here for the Chicago Bears in this offense. Fingers crossed. Let's move on here. The 5-3 Jacksonville Jaguars take on their AFC South foe, the 3-5 Houston Texans. Houston are getting 1.5 at home, which is interesting, and I'm going to explain why. We've talked about it now 3 straight shows, but it's worth bringing up. Over under 37.5.
Yeah.
Minus 112 for the Jaguars, plus 102 for the Texans. The reason why I bring up the spread, we bet the Niners heavy as road underdogs against the hapless, hopeless Texans. We were wrong. We then bet the Texans because the same pattern played out and the Denver Broncos came to town. The Denver Broncos win. Now the Jaguars, who don't seem good, who seem injured, no Travis Hunter. Will we get Brian Thomas? We'll talk about it. But they're going to get the 1.5. They're not, they're giving the 1.5. They're not the underdogs. It's interesting. So how do you see that real quick? Talk about that real quick because it's been a weird pattern of home Texan games. And then let's talk about the Jags offense.
Yeah, I think that has a lot to do with C.J. Stroud not starting. It's going to be Davis Mills.
That's a good point.
So I think that has a lot to do with it. Davis Mills is, probably in the Tyler Shuck range, like quarterback you probably don't want to play. But would I be shocked if he threw for 3 touchdowns? No. Like, it just
Nico could break a 75-yarder,
Right, exactly. And Christian Kirk revenge game? Maybe.
Ooh.
Could we? So I've actually thrown some Kirk into some lineups just because he was the only guy on waivers to even pick up that had a name. So I threw him into a couple lineups this week, just hoping and praying maybe they throw him a touchdown.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, Woody Marks, you got to play him. I think Chubb's been on the injury report. So, Woody Marks, I think, is, RB2 this week for us. Nico, you're obviously playing. Kirk, I think, is a, wide receiver 3 flex play. Xavier Hutchinson's been starting. Like, that's probably a flex play at best, too. And Dalton Schultz has been doing really good, even with Davis Mills last week. So, I think Schultz, like, if you lost Tucker Kraft and you had to pick up Schultz, I think that's a good play.
Yeah. Anything about the Jaguars offense before we move on to the next game?
Yeah, so Brian Thomas hasn't practiced the first 2 days. It's looking unlikely he plays. I don't know how fast they get up Jacoby Myers up to speed. I've kind of have sat Jacoby Myers in my lineups initially here so far, just because I can't remember somebody coming in, getting traded, and coming in that week and being successful. I don't really remember anybody off the top of my head. So I'm kind of avoiding the Shaheeds and the Myers, those guys this week. Parker Washington, though, fucking slam dunk. Get him into your lineups if you can, for sure. Like, that's definitely the guy I want to play. It sounds like from what Liam Cohen said, or somebody said it, that he's going to be their starting F receiver, which is their slot. He's going to be the starting slot the rest of the year. So Parker Washington, he was my big pickup of the week. Like, spend all your money to get him if you can. And I'm putting him into a bunch of lineups. And Hunter Long is hurt, so God knows who they're starting. Tight end Johnny Munt, I think, is the starter right now. So good luck with that one.
Yeah, I expect a lot of Travis Etienne, a lot of Parker Washington.
Tootin hopefully gets in there.
Tootin could have an expanded role and just a need for someone to take, make plays for this offense. I'm not going to play a guy like Myers. I could be talked into a guy like Shaheed, but we'll talk about him in that when we get to that game. But let's move on to a game that has low-key, super fun fantasy potential. The 6-2 Buffalo Bills head to South Beach to take on the 2-7 Dolphins. -9.5 for the Bills. Over/under though, 50.5. We love to see those 50 burgers, baby. Yeah. -45 for the Bills, +370 for the Dolphins. Buffalo Bills take 2 seconds. We know the game when it comes to the Buffalo Bills, right? Allen, Cook, maybe Kincaid. That's it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Allen. I'm playing Cook. Playing Shakir. I'm playing Kincaid. That's probably about it. Like, I can't play Keon Coleman. I've dropped him in some redraft leagues. Like, he's been so fucking awful.
And on the Dolphins side of things, again, pretty straightforward, right?
H-Hand Waddle. Let's move on.
H-Hand Waddle. Let's move on. This game also has a lot of potential here indoors in Minnesota. So we get the 3-5 Baltimore Ravens heading to Minnesota to take on the 4-4 Vikes. -3.5 for the Raiders. Over/under 48.5 seems pretty sharp to me. -225 for the Ravens. +185 for the Vikings. Lamar Jackson back, no problem. 1 million touchdowns last Thursday Night Football. He gets some extra rest heading into this matchup. But we always kind of act with a little bit of caution when going against a Brian Flores defense. What do we think about Lamar, and what do we think about his weapons against Brian Flores on the road?
Yeah, I mean, I think you still got to play Lamar. So he's, quarterback one for me this week. Derrick Henry, you're playing him. Zay Flowers, you're playing him. I can't play any other receivers. None of them I trust. And then even Andrews got 2 touchdowns last week, but that's the only catches and yards he got. And Isaiah Likely has been, pretty much they've been 50-50 workload-wise. So I think if you have to play Likely this week, that's not a terrible play either. So, Andrews Likely are, low-end tight ends for me this week. But, yeah, Lamar, Zay Flowers, Derrick Henry, I'm smashing those guys into my lineup.
Zay Flowers might go berserk in this game. I think he could be a big contributor. And on the Minnesota side of things, they want to slow it down. Can't always do so with J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. But with him, back after winning last week, do they slow things down? Do they use more Jordan Mason this week, or do they air it out to their pass catchers? What are we thinking for the Vikings?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a mix of both. Like we haven't seen McCarthy like throw for a lot of yards yet. It's all been like very low 200s.
Yeah.
He is rushing the ball, which is nice. He did get a rushing touchdown last week, so I think McCarthy's like a top end quarterback 2 for me this week. Aaron Jones, I don't think he's gonna play. He landed on his shoulder, messed it up. So I think Jordan Mason will be the starter. I've had to throw him into some lineups, so kind of just hope and pray there. Jefferson, you're playing. I had to throw Addison into a few lineups. It's a good matchup, so I like that. And then Hawkinson caught a touchdown last week, but he's like can barely get to 50 yards, man. It's crazy.
It's brutal, yeah.
I've had some better options at tight end that I'll play over him, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with Hawkinson right now.
In redraft, Hawkinson's pretty much a drop, right? Because of the wave of tight ends we've seen this year. Most teams that needed tight ends that weren't happy with a guy like Hawkinson picked up a Loveland, a Fannin, a Goddard, a Gadsden. All of these guys, maybe even a Mark Andrews, could have been dropped and then picked back up. Luke Musgrave, Mason Taylor. I mean, the list goes on and on of guys that they could have had. So in redraft, are you okay dropping TJ Hawkinson?
Yeah. I have a league where I picked up Gadsden. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Yep. The 2-6 Cleveland Browns head to New York to take on the 1-7 Jets. This game smells. -1.5 for the Browns, over under 37.5, -130 for the Browns, +110 for the Jets. Let's start with the Cleveland Browns side of things. Quinshon Judkins and anybody else? What are we going to do?
Yeah, this is like the prison game of the week for sure. Like all the prisoners will be watching this one. Yeah, it's Judkins and Njoku for me. So Fannin missed practice today completely. He practiced Wednesday, I think, but didn't practice today. So something happened Wednesday or something happened.
Practice, which is horrible. This is the Travis Hunter thing.
Yeah, so I'm not expecting Fannin to play this week. So Njoku is definitely a top tight end for me this week. He's in the top 12 for sure. And that's about it. Like Cedric Tillman should be back this week. I kind of want to see what he does, but I'm not going to play him.
And on the Jets side of things, I know we've sung the praises of Justin Fields in fantasy all season pretty much. But this week, I have a gut feeling that the Browns just make his life a living hell this week. I got him at quarterback 20, which is low for a guy with the rushing ability of Justin Fields. What do you think about Fields, and does that kill Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson when he returns? What do you think the Jets look like this week?
Yeah, the Browns have had Justin Fields I think his first start was against the Browns in Cleveland when he was with the Bears, and I think he got sacked like 9 times. He threw for like -7 yards or something. I don't know what it
That's the thing about Fields is his dud games are unfathomable. It's minus passing yards and 6 rushing yards. It's terrible.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't love the matchup here for Fields, but you probably have to play him with all these guys on bye in Superflex leagues and stuff. So, Breece Hall, I definitely don't like the matchup for him. Like, the Browns have just been eating up running backs this year. I could see maybe Isaiah Davis could be like a flex play if you need somebody. He had a good game last time out. Garrett Wilson, I'm definitely playing. He's like practicing in full, so he should be good to go. Don't want to play any other Jets receivers. You could maybe throw Mason Taylor in there, but he's like a tight end too.
All right, now let's move on to, in my opinion, the game of the week, the 7-2. Woo! Let's just let that sink in, everybody. The 7-2 New England Patriots head down to Tampa to take on the 6-2 Buccaneers. Patriots +2.5. Over under 48.5, +124 for the Patriots, -148 for the Buccaneers. Let's start with the Patriots. Drake May all day, every day. Yep. But what else? Who else are you excited about in this offense this week?
Sounds like Stevenson's not going to play again, so Henderson should be the main guy here. I think you got to probably play him. He's probably like an RB2, though, and I'm not going to put him as an RB1. Wide receiver is probably not going to have Butte, so I think Diggs is definitely into my lineups this week. I don't mind Mac Hollins as like a flex play this week. I think that could be a really good one for you. And we're going to start seeing some more Kyle Williams this week, so super deep flex play flyer, like I have nobody else, I think Kyle Williams could be a guy for you. And then Hunter Henry's been like Jekyll and Hyde this year, up and
it's
down,
been
up
rough.
and down, up and down. So it's a little bit of a tough matchup here. I don't know. I'm probably not going to play Hunter Henry if I can avoid it.
Kyle Williams or Mac Hollins this week?
I'm going to go Mac Hollins. I trust him more.
And then on the Buccaneers side of things, Bucky Irving not playing again. At least that's what we assume based on him not practicing, coming off the bye nonetheless. So Baker, yes. Rachaad White, yes. And then how do you see this pass catching our hierarchy kind of unfolding? Because again, Chris Godwin also looks like won't play this week.
Yeah, Rashad and Bucky probably not playing. Bucky and Chris Godwin not playing. Baker I'm playing. Rashad I'm playing. Emeka Buka I'm definitely playing. I think Tez Johnson, if I have to choose a second receiver, I would play him. He's been more explosive. And Cade Otton should be a really solid tight end option for you this week. If you lost Kraft or any of these other guys on bye, you got Kelsey on bye or something, I could definitely play Cade Otton for sure.
So let's move into the 4 o'clock games. Actually, let's take a quick second. We got some questions in the chat here.
Yep.
PPR, no TEP. Pick one for the tight end one. Pick one tight end, one flex. Cade Otton, Juwan Johnson, Josh Downs, or Aaron Jones. You just talked a little about Cade Otton. How do you see this panning out for him?
Yeah, I think on this one I would probably go with Otton and Josh Downs. I do like Juwan Johnson too, so I think you can kind of coin flip it there, but I think I trust Otton a little bit more with the better quarterback. And then Josh Downs too, better quarterback than Tyler Shuck. Aaron Jones looks like he's not going to play. If he does play, you could throw him in for Josh Downs instead. I don't mind that, but I would make sure he's playing first.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Otton. And Johnson's matchup, it's middle of the road, but Vegas, their implied Vegas total is 17.25. I just don't really love chasing tight ends in an offense projected to score 17 points. Right. So I think I would go Downs in the hopes of a shootout in Berlin. So I think I would go with Otton and Josh Downs this week.
Another shootout in Berlin back in like the 40s.
There was a minor shootout. There was a. We're moving on.
World War II joke.
Yeah. Should I start Troy Franklin tonight or keep Jennings and Alec Pearson on Sunday?
I think I would go Franklin and Pierce. I think I would sit Jennings. I think Jennings has a tougher matchup against the Rams. So, and I like Franklin tonight. I think he could have a big night. So I'm gonna go Franklin and Pierce.
Completely agree. I got Sutton and Nico, and I'm thinking about benching Nico for Sutton since Davis Mills will be Nico's QB. Sutton has the Raiders. So basically, we're asking a question for Thursday Night Football, Nico or Cortland Sutton?
Yeah, I think I'm going to go Sutton here. I think I agree with the listener. And I would still try and force Nico into my lineup. Like, I couldn't imagine you have a lineup where you can't fit him in there. But I get it, too. So, yeah, I would go Sutton over Nico for sure.
Yeah, if I could only play one, I'm going to play Sutton on Thursday Night Football. I have Sutton this week at wide receiver 21, fifth best matchup against the Raiders, and the implied total is pretty high. But I still have Nico as a top 24 play. I got him at wide receiver 24, even with Davis Mills. Davis Mills is good enough to force feed a guy like Nico. Could he see 9 targets? A guy like Nico, he's going to convert. So I still have him as a top 24 play. I agree with you. You got to have a stacked lineup to not be able to wedge both of these guys in.
Right.
Trade Rice and CD for JSN. Ooh.
Absolutely not. Nope.
You can't. I love JSN, but I don't think you can.
I mean, you can CD and JSN in dynasty rankings are probably the same, and then you add in Rice. Like, even if this is a redraft, I'm still going Rice and CD, even though they're both on bye.
Yeah, the only scenario where maybe you'd contemplate it, because if you look at it, Wilson and Zay would be the other 2 receivers. It's still a great corp. Is if you lose this week, your season's done. And this is not a dynasty take. This is a redraft only, do or die office league. If you lose, you're done.
Yeah.
Then maybe I would do it. But in any which way, no. The value is just so much value. CeeDee Lamb and Rice. Yeah, you might be getting up, scaling up the dynasty scale, at receiver or even the rest of season scale, but the other two guys are still top 11 rest of season and
they're
15
top 10 guys,
dynasty.
Yeah.
No, that's a lot. That's a whole
That's
lot,
a lot,
Turtle Man.
yeah.
A whole lot. All right, let's get to the 4 o'clock slate here. NFC West divisional battle. The 3-5 Arizona Cardinals head to Seattle to take on the 6-2 Sea Chickens. Plus 6.5 for the Cardinals. 44.5 over under. Plus 260 for the Cardinals. Minus 325 for the Hawks. Cardinals, Jacoby Brissett back at quarterback. Does this over-under tell us that this is the game Jacoby Brissett turns back into a pumpkin? And if so, what does that mean for the Cards offense?
Yeah, I don't know, because, I mean, we thought that against Green Bay, and they were right in it all game with Green Bay.
Mm-hmm.
That first game that he played, I forget against who.
The Colts.
He was right in it. Yeah, Colts. He was right in it, man. So I'm going to believe in Jacoby Brissett in this offense. They're humming right now. They're playing really good ball, and they're keeping it up there. So I kind of like Cardinals with the points here. Jacoby Brissett, I'm going to start him in a few leagues this week. He was probably like your top quarterback you could pick up off waivers this week in redraft. So, yeah, I'm going to play Jacoby Brissett in a few spots. It is a tougher matchup, I will admit that, but they're humming right now. Running back wise, DeMercado is going to be the guy I'm going to start. He got most of the work last week. Zonovan Knight was kind of used at the goal line. Michael Carter's gone. Like they don't even use him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to play DeMercado as my starter here. I see in the chat DeMercado or Singletary. I'm going to go DeMercado there. And then wide receivers, Marvin Harrison Jr. cooked last week. You're playing him. I can't trust any other receivers, though. Like, Michael Wilson would probably be my second option, but that's like a flex play at best. Trey McBride is top 2 tight end in the league. You're playing him.
Yeah, all day, every day. You draft him to do so. There's no analysis needed. And then the Seattle side of things, we talked a little bit about Darnold, where we kind of saw him in the quarterback hierarchy. So talk about Darnold, who's been red hot, and then talk about this offense.
Yeah, like he's kind of like Darnold last year, man. Like, you just play him, and even though it looks like, oh, man, he's going to turn into a pumpkin anytime, and he doesn't. So I'm going to play Darnold. Running backs, it's like 50-50, man. Like, if you can play them both, play them both. But I'm still always going to choose Walker, but Charbonnet could steal the touchdown. So, like, they're definitely RB2 flex plays, both of them. Wide receivers, you're playing JSN every single week. Shaheed, so you did mention that you could be convinced of him playing this week for you in fantasy lineups. I agree to an extent because Kubiak was with him in the Saints. I think it was last year or 2 years ago, whatever it was. I think it was last year. So obviously he knows his offense. He knows the terminology and stuff. So I don't mind Shaheed a little bit. I think he's probably more the flex play version of for me. Cooper Kupp, I don't think is going to play again. Torrey Horton caught 2 touchdowns last week. I think he could be somebody you could throw in as like a wide receiver 3 flex play. And then A.J. Barner, I saw he was on the injured list for this week. I don't know if it's serious or not. I didn't really look into it. He wasn't great last week, but he did have like a rushing touchdown, I think it was. So yeah, Barner. I don't know. I've been really impressed with him. So if he does play, he's probably like a back end tight end 1, top tight end 2 for me. If you're missing Kraft.
Yeah, good matchup. Arizona's been actually kind of weak against tight ends, so I don't mind the Hail Mary there. The reason why I'm playing with Shaheed too, I love the Kubiak call out. It makes a ton of sense. Actually elevates what I was thinking. I didn't even go there, but my thought was just Shaheed as a weapon. 3 deep shots.
Yeah,
you can run straight in any offense,
and
if
Darnold's
you convert,
the best deep thrower in the league.
Right, and the offense just kind of warrants that opening up down the seams. I mean, when you're having to deal with JSN 3 passes in a row, the way that they use him, then you have a Torrey Horton kind of dialed up. It's just sometimes you can lose track of a guy like Shaheed if he's only on the field, even if he's on the field 25% of the time, runs 7 routes, 3 go routes. All of them are targeted his way. He catches 2 of them for 70 yards and a touchdown. Like, that is on the table. So that is why I would play him in a desperate situation. But I still have him in the Josh Downs, Malik Washington, Xavier Legette range. So it is flex.
Shaheed would have looked nice in a Patriots uniform, hey?
Yeah, but I mean, that is just kind of what Boutte's done. Like, I don't know
true.
if he would be an improvement to Booty, who would have looked fantastic in a Patriots uniform, though. Would have been Brees Hall if they could have pried him away. He
I
would
saw
have been fantastic.
before we got on here that the Chiefs offered a 4th-round pick for Brees.
Jets are that's ridiculous. If you're you're in such a sell mode. The reported asking price was a 3rd, and you got offered a 4th. I mean,
You couldn't get like a 4th and a 6th. Like, let's go.
it's just part of me wishes if he was on the Chiefs. I mean, you'd get all the feelies. All the feelies would be coming all over your body because you'd also be able to play Isaiah Davis this week, which would be kind of fantastic in and of itself. All right, from one NFC West battle to the next. I mean, these guys are just facing off in Week 10. The 6-2 Rams head to San Francisco. Cisco. I don't know why I said Cisco to take on the 6-3 Niners. -4.5 for the Rams. Over under 49.5. -225 for the Rams. +185 for the home Niners. The Rams make it so easy for us. Stafford, Kyron, Devontae, Puka, right?
Yeah.
That's it.
They're using 4 tight ends too. I can't trust any of them. Hope you got them in best ball.
Just a little merry-go-round.
Yeah.
I've
So
never
they
seen
were
anything
talking
like
about
it.
this week. Like, I wouldn't even be shocked if they play 40 personnel, have 4 tight ends, no running backs. Like, it's definitely could happen.
Terrence Ferguson coming out of the backfield for a wheel route. I love it.
Yeah.
Sean McVay's a sicko, and you know that these two guys empty out the clip when they play each other. McVay versus Shanahan is always a banger. They played on Thursday Night Football earlier this year. Stafford went berserk. Christian McCaffrey went nuts. It was a great fantasy day for all of us.
Yeah.
Mac Jones went. That was the first game.
Yeah, because they had nobody. Jennings is out, Pearsall's out, Kittle's out. All they got's McCaffrey.
Kendrick Bourne went for 20
Kendrick
fantasy
Bourne
points.
went for like 9,000. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but this week, though, it's not much different, but Purdy is projected to be back. So what does that look like for the Niners?
Yeah, I still don't know if it's going to be Mac or Purdy, to be honest with you. So we'll have to see on that one. McCaffrey, you're playing. Wide receivers, oh man, I think you got to play Jennings as maybe the one, but I don't love it. Bourne hasn't been as good lately. Kittle, he hasn't even been that great lately, but I think you got to play him in this matchup. So that's probably about it for the 49ers.
I would say I'm fading George Kittle, but you know what that means in my weekly rankings? He's tight end 5.
Yeah. I mean, you got to play him. Like, you just take it in with the, it's tight end. Like, you already know what you're getting into. Like, your replacement that you pick up or your backup probably has the same outcome. So just start the guys that are really, really good.
Unless you have a Rondé Gadsden, you picked him up off waivers. Kittle over Goddard, Kittle over Fannin, especially now with the injury concerns. Kittle over Taylor, Kittle over Musgrave. It's just George Kittle. You play George Kittle. The big game is coming. Let's move on to the next game that had a ton of sex appeal. Now, not so much. 5-3 Detroit Lions head to the nation's capital to take on the 3-6 Commanders. -7.5 for the Lions. Over under 49.5. -470 for the Detroit Motor City Kitties. +360 for the Commies. Detroit, Goff, we kind of measured him up, with Caleb, with Darnold earlier in the show. So we got him as a top 10 play, right? You'd say this week?
Yeah, probably 10, 12, somewhere in there.
And then the running backs, I think it's a really good matchup for the running backs. I love Gibbs and I like Montgomery. I got both of them as top 13 running backs, so I think you could play them both. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's been awesome this season. Great matchup, so you're playing him. Sam Laporta had a massive week 9. I'm okay going back to the well there as well. 6th easiest matchup for the Commanders. What about Jameson Williams? Are you playing Jameson Williams this week?
Yeah, he's been hit or miss for everybody, but I mean, there's a lot of guys on bye, man. Like the Bengals guys, all on bye. The Chiefs guys, all on bye. So I think you got to probably play Jameson. Yeah, Cowboys on bye. So yeah, I think Jameson Williams. There's probably enough guys on bye and injuries and stuff, and the guys who got traded, like, you probably got to play him this week. So, yeah, I think he's a wide receiver 3 for me this week. And then Laporta, like you mentioned, those Washington linebackers are fucking dog shit. So Laporta should eat. Yeah.
We've used this philosophy with Jameson Williams all year. It's been wrong most of the time, but this is a true process over results type of experiment. You don't bench Jameson Williams when the Vegas implied total for the Lions is 29.25.
Right.
We've been wrong. He has done it in these games, but I just think the philosophy is true. The process needs to be. I got Jameson Williams inside my top 30 because at any point he can catch 6 touchdowns for 170 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Do you think the Lions and Dan Campbell want to stick it to them after the playoffs last year too? They might want to run up the score a little bit.
Right, and Dan, I'm the king of bro science, so I'm always going to bring out the anecdotes here. I'm not going to bring out the quantifiable things, the variables. Last week in front of the media, Dan Campbell had to admit that he didn't have the boys ready for battle after the bye. You know how much that hurts a man like Dan Campbell? He has got the Lions lock-loaded and ready to destroy the Commies.
Yeah.
This could be a bloodbath. So if it is a bloodbath, Marcus Mariota in, Janie Daniels had a gruesome arm injury, so he's out.
Yes. Yep.
So what does that mean for the Commanders if we're expecting the Lions to go absolute berserk mode?
Yeah, I mean, Mariota's probably going to have to throw a lot more in this one than we want him to. He does have some rushing upside, so he's a quarterback 2 for me this week. It's not like the Lions are a spectacular defense by any means.
Mm-hmm.
Running backs, though, I mean, they're using 3 guys again. Like, Krosky Merritt hasn't done shit all year pretty much, besides out of 1 game. I can't really play any of those guys unless I am just desperate and I have nobody else. Wide receivers, I think Debo's the guy there. I do like Jalen Lane with McCaffrey going on IR with a broken collarbone. So Jalen Lane should be the starter in the slot now. So I don't mind him as like a flex play. I think that's an interesting one. And then tight end, Zach Ertz is probably a top 12 tight end this week. So, yeah, Ertz and those guys.
Yeah, Mariota Ertz have a good connection, and it feels like after Debo, it's wide open.
Yeah.
I just need to ask this question before we move on because it's become so in our faces. It is the elephant in the room. Does Bill stink? Is Bill not a good running back? Did we just get so head over heels in love with a 7th-round running back that didn't really have the track record in college, was kind of a long shot to make it? Did we just fall in love with a prospect that didn't have what it takes to be a true weekly contributor in fantasy?
I think some of that's true, but I think he's still learning the position. Like, he didn't really play at all last year in college either. He played the 1 game and that was it. So he hasn't really played in over a year. I'm going to give him a little bit of a pass, but I think he's, an RB2 at best. Like, I don't know if he's ever going to be like, Jonathan Taylor leading the league in rushing yards kind of deal here or anything like that. But I think he's solid, but he's probably in a committee, like, going forward. Like, I don't think he's gonna, he's got a split now with Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols. So if he can't beat out those guys, that's probably telling you what he really is.
I mean, he hasn't really been able to, pace himself above those players yet. I'm not losing faith on him in 2025 because you just mentioned Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichols. So that's the committee he has to beat out. So I'm still gonna put my eggs in the Bill basket, hoping that he could perform. But in Dynasty, if you don't think that the Commanders are going to invest in this position, I think you're wildly incorrect. So I think we need to have to recalibrate long-term. But in 2025, Bill's still the most talented running back in this backfield. I mean, it's just not saying much when you're talking about the other
and they're
names
not
that
going to
you
make the
mentioned.
playoffs, so.
Right. At this point, let's just see what we got.
And Jaden's not coming back at all this year. I know they're talking about, he could. Guess what? They're 3-6 now. 2 more losses and they're fucked. So
just think of the PR move to bring him back. The criticism against Dan Quinn was that he was playing in a game he had no business playing in. Yeah. So don't bring him back into a season he had no business coming back into. Right. That is how you get yourself fired for no reason. So Dan Quinn's
that's
not
how
do
you
that.
get an RG3 situation. Another fucking injury. to another Washington quarterback.
If you listen carefully, you can just hear the hearts of thousands of Washington Commanders fans just breaking when you bring up that comparison. Because as of right now, the charts are looking eerily similar. All right, enough of the negativity. Let's move on to a game on Sunday Night Football I think is going to be a good football game. Will it be a good fantasy game? I don't know. Let's talk about it. The 5-3 Pittsburgh Steelers head out to La La Land to take on the 6-3 Chargers. Chargers are -345.5 over under, plus 130 for the Steelers, minus 155 for the Chargers. Pittsburgh side of things, Jalen Warren, DK Metcalf, maybe Aaron Rodgers. It's kind of what we're relying on, right? Is there anything else going on in this offense?
What was the over again?
45.5.
Yeah, I'm smashing that. I think this could be a little bit of a shootout game, like
Ooh, I like
30,
indoors.
31-30, something like that. Yeah, I'm expecting a high-scoring game here. So with that, I'm playing Aaron Rodgers. I'm playing Jalen Warren. Gainwell, I think, is a flex play if you need to. I think he could see some receptions. DK Metcalf, I got to play him. I think Calvin Austin could be somebody that can make a big play in this game. So I like Calvin Austin as like a flex play. The tight ends are just hard to they're playing all three of them.
If you got three, you got zero in fantasy.
Right. Jonnu still hasn't had over like 30 yards. If I had to pick one, I think I'm going to go Freiermuth in this one. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Steelers side, though.
And on the Chargers side of things, Herbert, great matchup, fourth best matchup for quarterbacks, but his offensive line is Swiss cheese. And the Steelers' pass rush has been looking a little bit sharper over these last couple weeks. Could we see TJ Watt and company get after that ass when it comes to Justin Herbert, and what does that mean for this offense?
Yeah, that is what I'm a little bit afraid of. If they don't get the blocking, which I probably not, because they're like starting tackles off the street basically at this point. Joe Alt's out for the year, so that sucks. They're losing both their stud tackles out for the year, so that's not good. And then the guy that they picked up off the street basically that was starting and doing good, he's out. So yeah, they're kind of fucked at tackle. So they're gonna have to do the quick passing game, which means I think McConkey and maybe Keenan Allen has a good spot here. Quentin Johnson, I'm still going to start him, but he could have a little bit of a harder time if they're going to try and throw the ball down the field to him. Gadsden, I think you got to play him. Vidal, I think, has a tougher matchup. Like, he's probably like a lower-end RB2 for me this week. And Jarrett Patterson outran him last week, which is kind of crazy to think of. So, yeah, to kind of avoid the running backs, but quarterback, receivers, I'm good with that.
Yeah, the matchup is, on paper, pretty good for Herbert and his pass catchers. And I kind of see McConkey getting the checkdowns. Gadsden getting the checkdowns, not Vidal. So I'm with you there. I got Vidal as running back 21. I'm not completely throwing him out, but he is also going to fall in my ranks now that I know that Swift is playing and Travion Henderson is going to get the backfield. He's probably going to fall to the running back 25, 26 range. So, you play him as a running back too. But I do agree it's going to be a little bit tough sledding, I think, for that backfield.
Right.
One more game on the Week 10 slate. The 6-2 Philadelphia Eagles head to Lambeau to take on the 5-2-1 Green Bay Packers. Eagles getting 2.5 on the road. Over under 45.5 seems low for the offensive weapons going toe-to-toe in this matchup. Plus 110 for the Eagles, minus 130 for the Packers. Betting side of things, I think taking the Eagles and the money seems like a good play. But talk to me about this offense. How do you see the Eagles offense looking?
I think this is this just screams under for me, like the under. I don't think this is going to be a
drudgy, kind of like sludgy, kind of just punch in the face type of game.
13, something like that. Like, yeah, I mean, these teams have played like each other the last couple years too, and I know they had one like higher scoring game, and there was another game I think that was like middle of the road. So they both had the book on each other. Green Bay's defense is a little bit better too, but Eagles side, I think you got to play Jalen Hurts. Like, it's hard to just sit that guy.
Yeah.
Barkley, you're playing off. Hopefully he is practicing. I haven't even looked at that.
He practiced in full. Him and A.J. Brown practiced in full, I believe.
Okay, so they're good. Yeah, so you're playing Barkley. You're playing Dallas Goedert, who's been I think he leads the league in touchdown catches. So, yeah, you're going to play Dallas Goedert. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, you're playing those guys. You're not playing anybody else. Packers side, I think Jordan Love is probably more in the back-end quarterbacks for me this week. A little bit of, I mean, it's not a tough matchup, but it's okay. Jacobs, you're playing. Wide receiver-wise, I think Romeo Doubs is the guy to play here. I don't know if Matthew Golden's going to play. He got hurt. Christian Watson, I don't mind Christian Watson. He caught a big pass last week, but he's more of that, deep ball, go get it guy. Like, he's not going to be running a bunch of different kind of routes than that. And then tight end, Luke Musgrave's going to be the starter now. I mean, he got drafted over Tucker Kraft. He's a different player than Kraft, though. Kraft can do it all, whereas Musgrave is more of the, seam stretcher, that type of player. We'll see if they can get him the ball down the field or not. But, he's he's a tight end, too, for me.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good bye week replacement for any Travis Kelce roster or
I mean, if
Ferguson
you lost Kraft,
roster.
and you got to pick him up, that's fine too.
I made him a priority in a lot of leagues because he does have rest of season staying power.
Right.
He was a guy that did have success in this offense. He does different things in Kraft. Won't be the force that Tucker Kraft was. Won't be tight end 3 in my weekly ranks or anything like that. But a guy that you could rely on to maybe catch 4 passes for 50 yards and maybe a touchdown. And in tight end, we'll take that shit, baby. We'll take that all day, every day. This game, I do agree overall, though. It seems like a game that's going to be a letdown, but it's also a game that you can't bench anybody because even in a slugfest, Jalen Hurts can rush for 2 touchdowns. Saquon Barkley can find the end zone. One of A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith will probably have a good game. Dallas Goedert could catch a touchdown. Problem is you can see those outcomes with all of them, but it's only going to happen probably for 1 or 2 of them. That is going to be the problem, but in terms of the process, you just got to play because they're just too good. The offense is too good, and you can just see it happening. The matchups on paper look like they could be a shootout. But I'm with you. My gut says it's not, but I think that's a little bit of a cautionary tale. Just temper expectations for the Eagles. I think Packers, we've all had tempered expectations. I think we've all kind of put Jordan Love in the back end of our mind. We're starting a lot of quarterbacks over him. It's really just Josh Jacobs being an every week starter. The rest, it's just like even Dobbs. You can find 3 receivers on a given redraft team that are better than Dobbs this week.
Yeah, I mean, you probably drafted Dobbs in your double-digit rounds, but he's been super consistent all year, man.
For sure.
I like playing him. He's probably a locked-in wide receiver 3 for the rest of the year for me.
Yeah, I got him a wide receiver 30 this week. I think he's a great play, but you could have 3. And my point
3
is,
better ones,
he's not just like a guaranteed play. The Packers have, other than Jacobs, well, Kraft before, Kraft not so much now, but everyone else on the Packers have become kind of like afterthoughts. It's just kind of what it is. And that's it. That is the Week 10 slate. This is the walkthrough. Is there any hope for Evan Ingram?
Yeah. I mean, it's a good matchup tonight, so if you lost Tucker Kraft and you got to throw him in there, I don't hate it. Like, this is a good matchup against the Raiders, so I'm not guaranteeing a touchdown or anything like that, but I think there's, would I play him or trying to think of some guy like him or Mason Taylor? I'd play Ingram. Go ahead, give me some names.
Let's play a little name game with him. Evan Ingram, we'll start with the guy you mentioned, Mason Taylor.
Yeah, I'd go Ingram.
Evan Ingram or Luke Musgrave?
I think I'm going to go Ingram.
Evan Ingram or Hunter Henry?
I think I'm going to go Ingram on that one.
Ingram or Darnell Washington?
I'm going to go Ingram on that one.
So, let's go with a little Ingram in Week 10. Good luck in all your matchups. Week 10. Let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, at Eric Vanek NFL on X. You can find me there. Sundays, this channel right here, we do the Start Sit show, noon Eastern. Come join us. Ask your Start Sit questions. Always a lot of fun. So, come join us.
And make sure you are subscribed to the South Harmon Fantasy Football channel. Like this video. Leave a comment. Who are some of your favorite sleepers in Week 10? Follow me on X, Matty_Kiwoom. But I'm going to get my original back.
What a solid name. I love the underscore.
You
gotta get the Patriots
at all.
You gotta get the Patriots custom jersey with a Matty _ Kiwoom now.
No, you gotta buy it for me. But that's it. That's the Week 10 slate. We broke it down. We went through each and every game. So make sure you come back and hang out with us for Week 11. Peace.
See ya.
Welcome to the walkthrough.